What's up, everybody? I am back. It's been a minute, but I wanted to react to this amazing video that I just think deserves a biopic in of itself. But it's a video coming from a YouTuber called the Fat Files. Great name. And he's covering the CEO of Arizona Iced Tea. I am prepped for that because I got myself an Arizona Iced Tea today. So before we continue, please do me a huge favor and subscribe to the Fat Files as well and check out his content. But also like this video, share this with your friends, and comment below. Let me know what you guys think of this video. Without further ado, let's see why the CEO of Arizona Tea is the most gangster CEO of all time. The GOAT, if you will.
Most requested business for me to look into. Today we're talking about Arizona Tea, and I think the reason so many people have requested this is fairly obvious. Clearly Arizona is up to something, selling these giant cans of tea for 99 cents, which right out of the gate feels weird, but then it gets even weirder when you realize that they've been selling that same can of tea for the same exact price since 1992. Okay, inflation has gone up 124% since then, meaning that if they just wanted to maintain everything, that can of tea should cost...
I didn't even think Arizona was around for that long. I thought it's probably been around maybe like late 80s.
At least $2.24. Okay, bear in mind, we live in a world where as of 2021, the Dollar Tree is now the $1.25 tree, okay? The only other product that is sacred is the Costco $1.50 hot dog. And to make that even kind of feasible, Costco had to go out and buy 2 hot dog making factories, and
I wouldn't trust. I mean, I don't know if I even tried the Costco hot dogs before, but I'm concerned about the quality. I could be wrong. It's been many years since I've been to a Costco, so whenever I go to one, I'll try out their hot dogs.
They still lose money on it, okay? The only reason Costco's staying in business is because they make so much money on all the other things they sell, they can just afford to take a loss on the hot dog, which makes the Arizona Tea can absolutely insane because it's the equivalent of Costco only selling hot dogs. They have to be losing money. It doesn't even seem feasible. They're clearly up to something, and we're gonna get into it right after a word from our sponsor. This video is brought to you by Rocket Money, your all-in-one finance app that's gonna help you cancel subscriptions, lower your monthly... There's a baby monitor in my office. All right, our story begins with the owner of Arizona Tea, John Voltaggio. Do you even know I'm talking about you? $7.99 a month every month for the past 3 years on some photo editing app that my wife used one time for an Instagram post. Yeah, babe, what's up?
How many guns did you buy this year?
No comment. Wait, what? How do you even know I'm talking about you right now? Did you bug my office?
A, don't worry about it. B, keep my name out of your mouth.
All right. I gotta finish the ad. I gotta go. Love you. That could have went better. Anyways, if you want to take control of your finances today, go check out Rocket Money. I will have a link in the description down below. Let's get back to the video. There's a baby monitor in my office. All right, our story begins with the owner of Arizona Tea, John Voltaggio. In the 1970s, he was a truck driver for an alcohol distribution service. Essentially, he was driving a truck around the city, and he would deliver all the alcohol to convenience stores and gas stations, and he did that for years. After doing this for years, him and his coworker, John Farolito, decided they're going to start their own distribution service. However, as I'm sure you can imagine, that's a very tough business to get into, and initially, the only clients that they could get were all the convenience stores and gas stations on the sketchy part of town that nobody else wanted to deliver to, but they did it anyways. Then, after they had a fairly successful distribution service, they figured, hey, we're already carrying all these different types of beverages to deliver them to all the convenience stores, and we have those relationships. What if we started our own brewery and started making our own alcoholic beverage, and then we could just have one more product to be able to offer all these clients? So they did, and that was fairly successful also. So now that they have their own alcohol, they have to figure out how to market it, and this is where John Voltaggio really figures out how to market a product, and he looks around at all the other successful products in the alcohol market in the
Sorry, let me check something. Just making sure. Having some some weird issues with Streamlabs for some odd reason, but we can doubly sure everything's working fine. One more.
'80s. And let's just call a spade here. The 1980s is the pinnacle of the sleazy advertisement era, okay? I mean, we've got Camels trying to sell children-flavored cigarettes, and we've got every alcohol company on the planet desperately trying to convince you that if you drink fucking Bud Light or Coors Light or whatever, a supermodel is going to be attracted to you and your beer gut. So John Voltaggio...
Look, the 80s and the 90s were a wild time for commercials, but I gotta say, they were creative with their commercials, and they knew what sells, which is usually sex. But it's one of the best marketing strategies in history, let alone capitalism or even America. Just selling this whole thing and marketing to who you know is going to buy it. It's great. Like, look at the Carl's Jr. commercials, especially around Super Bowl time. Nails it every time.
Learning how to market a product, he's like, okay, step 1, make it cool. Step 2, have a supermodel with huge cans promote it. Easy. They then proceed to name their beer Midnight Dragon, which is the coolest fucking name for a beer I've ever heard, and this is in 2024. If you adjust for inflation, it had to have been way cooler back in the 1980s. I mean, even today, that's a brilliant name. Imagine going over to your buddy's house, he opens up the fridge. Oh, what did you want to drink? We've got Miller Lite and Midnight Dragon.
Dragon?
I mean, at that point, you could literally be a Miller Lite guy, and you're still gonna try at least one Midnight Dragon. You have to. So, step 1, make it cool. Check. Step 2, make it sexy, right? Sex sells. I present to you their first ever advertisement, a beer poster of a model in red lingerie holding a 40 of Midnight Dragon with a straw with the caption, "I could suck on this all night."
Damn!
The fact that it's a 40 is just completely outrageous. Like, the notion that anyone in the history of mankind has ever been drinking a 40 while simultaneously also concerned about smearing their lipstick is just completely unhinged. Like, I need a part 2 of this beer advertisement. I know that straw doesn't reach the bottom of that 40. What happens when the straw doesn't reach anymore? Do you just throw it away and get another 40? Or are you going to be so drunk off the first 20 ounces you're not going to care about your lipstick anymore? I'm sorry, I'm getting sidetracked. Anyway, so this goes on until like 1990, and John Voltaggio, while he's delivering beer one day, there's another distributor there, and he's actually dropping off a bunch of Snapple. And John Voltaggio is just like captivated by it because it's the middle of winter. Why on earth would anybody be drinking iced tea in the middle of winter? It doesn't make any sense to him, but apparently a bunch of people enjoy it, so he's like, that's it. I'm gonna start selling tea. So the first thing Don has to figure out is the proposition, right? Why would anybody drink his tea over Snapple? Snapple's already an established brand. So he starts to thinking on how he's gonna set himself different, how he's gonna set himself apart, how he's gonna be better. Now, I'm just guessing, but I'm assuming at this point he refers back to all of his experience, all of his knowledge, all of the lessons that he's learned from marketing and distributing beer over the past decade. And when you distill all that knowledge down, he knows that you have to make it cool and you have to make it sexy, right? Because sex sells. The problem is, iced tea isn't exactly an adult beverage. There might be a lot of kids drinking this beverage too, and having some model with huge cans marketing it might be a little aggressive for something that children might be drinking, and then it hits him. Huge cans. We'll get rid of the model and just keep the giant cans. Okay, now like the textbook business term for this strategy is called a value proposition. Basically, he's decided that Snapple is 16 ounces and it costs like, I don't know, $1.29, whatever it costs. He's coming in and he's like, cool, I'm gonna sell more. I'm gonna sell 23 ounce cans and I'm gonna sell it for less. I'm gonna sell it for 99 cents. That's the value proposition. You're gonna get more for less. Okay, that's what a textbook's gonna tell you, but I'm dubbing this the big can strategy, right? Because we've seen this time and time again, okay? Think about Monster Energy. Monster Energy was not the first energy drink to ever hit the market. That was Red Bull. Monster Energy just came along and was like, oh hey, Red Bull's only selling these little 8-ounce cans of energy drinks. What if I doubled the size and sold 16-ounce cans and gave it an even cooler logo? Boom, multi-billion-dollar business right out of the gate. And you know the kicker with that, one of the top executives that helped initially launch Monster and
And those energy drinks like Monster and Red Bull kills it in like sports world, in the sports worlds. Like you see, like especially extreme sports where you probably have need a lot of energy. Like you watch like NASCAR or F1 or the Olympics or the extreme sports stuff, there's a lot of like Monster Energy, Red Bull logos almost all over the place. So, like a lot of these guys really have smart marketing teams. We probably need to borrow some of those stuff when it comes to marketing movies and TV shows and hell, like even video games to some extent, because when you're trying to market a video game, we rarely get any kind of creativity when it comes to that. Like back in like the 80s and the 90s, remember how like the Game Boy Color was marketing like the Pokemon Red and Blue, and it was trying to market the Game Boy Color, and I still remember the commercial where they trying to it was like somebody on a bus, school bus or something, and they trying to pack all the catch them all, and they try to shove them into the Game Boy Color. It was whimsical, it was creative, and I think only times we get like consistent creativity with commercials is when during like the Halloween and Christmas season and Super Bowl, during the Super Bowl. Those are the only times, those like peak times where we actually get some creativity with the marketing of these products. Other times of the year is very rare that you come across like a genius commercial. You remember like the like Six Flags commercial with that dancing ball guy? We rarely get that anymore. Or the what was that Skittles one with the berries and cream, like that dancing dude? We don't get that no more. Man.
It was a top-level executive at Arizona previously, so he knew exactly what he was doing with the big can strategy. In Don Voltaggio's own words, his marketing strategy is, and I quote, "Put tea in a big can and paint it pretty." Okay, if you learn nothing else from this video, just remember, people like big cans.
Did you say my name?
No, why?
You said big cans.
Yeah?
Well, that was my nickname in high school.
What?
Yeah, I didn't tell you that story?
No.
Yeah, so it all happened back in 2009. I was a freshman, and so all these boys were just like all like the I'm like,
Sorry, what?
are you paying attention?
Yeah. No, I heard all of it.
Okay.
Sorry, anyways, we've got the business model.
You put a like nice pair of boobs in front of a dude's face. You can say, a girl can say whatever, and you can be agreeing to whatever dumb thing that comes out of her mouth. It's like, I'm sorry, it's like the best hypnotizer of all time. Like, I remember agreeing to go to some stupid movie, some chick flick, because of a girl. Because obviously how pretty she was, but it's just like she's stacked. She's like, I agreed to it, and I don't even remember even the conversation. Kid you not. She could have been speaking Arabic, for all I know.
Classic value proposition, give more for less. Super simple, easy to market, great tried and true business strategy. Next thing, what are we going to name the company? So Don's thinking on it. He goes back home to his wife and he's looking at his house, and he lives in this like Spanish colonial, or sometimes referred to as Santa Fe style home. And he's like, cool, I'm just going to call it Santa Fe Tea. When you think of tea, you think of hot, the desert. Santa Fe is perfect. We're going to slap Santa Fe on the can. He does a couple of designs. The word Santa Fe it doesn't look right. It doesn't fit. So he's like, fuck it. I'm just going to say Arizona Tea. Don's never even set foot in Arizona, but he's like, it's fine. We're just going to call it Arizona Tea. It'll be good.
Sounds good to me.
Okay, next thing. Got to make the cake.
That's the thing, because I'm always curious, like, why Arizona of all places? It's like, okay, Santa Fe, then you went down to like a simple Arizona. Short, sweet, to the point. But it's like, out of all the places, or all the things you could have named it, you named it Arizona. That is just like, I'm pretty sure there's more detail behind that strategy, but it's like you just picked a random name, pretty much, and it's like ran with it because it was like short and you can fit on the can. That's what I'm saying. Like, man, there needs to be a biopic behind the creation of the Arizona tea because it seems so interesting.
Cans cool. Dawn's wife volunteers. She's going to design all the cans. Perfect. We got everything we need. So now Dawn and John Farolito are going to go to the bank, get a loan, and start their tea company. The bank hates it. They think it's a horrible, stupid idea, but they reluctantly end up giving the loan anyways for a couple of reasons. One, they're already successful businessmen. They already have a ton of money in collateral. And B, sometimes you just got to bet on the player and not the game. So the bank, while they were wrong, they ended up making the right decision and loaned them the money to get started. So 1992, Arizona tea hits the shelves for the first time and pretty much is immediately outrageously successful. And from here, it's pretty much 3 decades of Don Voltaggio being a fucking gangster about absolutely everything. Don wakes up one morning, decides he wants to
Not
start
to be confused with the alcohol, absolute everything.
selling giant 1-gallon jugs of tea. He starts making the tea, takes it to the distributor. The distributor's like, hey, this is never gonna sell. At which point Don is like, cool, you're never right about anything. Go ahead and put it on the shelf anyways. We'll see what happens. Now it's in like every grocery store in America. He decides he wants to come out with a new flavor of tea, honey and ginseng green tea, and then he has his wife design this beautiful can. At which point he takes a bunch of criticism like, hey, men are never gonna drink that tea because it's a girly colored can. At which point he's like, fine, I'll just sell it to women then. Fast forward a decade later, it's their best-selling flavor and probably...
I mean, like, when I saw like this design, my first thought as like a young kid wasn't like girly. It was just like, oh, this must have been made by some Asian company or something, like designed by some kind of Asian designer or something, because it looks very like zen. Look at like the cherry blossoms. It kind of looks like cherry blossoms. So I just thought like, oh, it's very zen tea. And as a kid, I was like, oh, that kind of makes sense. So balanced. Then I saw the other designs and it got a little bit more confusing. It was like, oh, they just kind of slapping very, I won't say random, but it's like, you know, very creative designs for their tea and their, you know, flavors. Like this, you know, I'm pretty sure this is a specific person, but I don't even know offhand. But this Arizona tea with this guy on the front is in black and white, and it's for the half and half flavored tea. I'm not sure who that guy is. Must be somebody important, but I do not know. I'm pretty sure there's gonna be people in the comments who are gonna explain that to me. I could easily look it up myself. Now I'm thinking about it, but whatever.
One of the most iconic product designs of all time, and it's all because he had his wife's back like a complete badass. He would also get a bunch of shit because he wasn't doing any marketing. Like he had,
and that's why you need like a good helpmate, a woman who sees your purpose and wants to help. So you want to get on board, making sure this kingdom is like running like clockwork. Hey, I know some designs. Let me give you some ideas so we can, like, you know, entice customers to want to buy more, because especially when it comes to the female consumers, because they're the most to buy a lot of stuff. If you make certain things look cute and pretty and sparkly or whatever, it does something to the female brain chemistry. And how many times you seen girls buy those Labubus, or the time before that, like the troll dolls or Tamagotchis? And it's small, it's cute, you know, it fits on their purses and all this other stuff. So design a can to look very pretty, then it entices more females who are the primary consumers, or at least the most consumers in America, if not around the world. Guarantee product selling. Smart, fairly, very brilliant. That is like genius marketing. I just can't, you know, kudos to the husband and the wife. Building a massive empire like that, and he does the bulk of the work. But the fact that she, you know, offered this contribution, and it's not like, you know, guys don't want to hear a lady's input. you gotta know who the guy you're picking, ladies, but the guy gotta make sure he's vetting the right woman who will be on board and want to contribute to the kingdom and not be a liability and not just extract. I want to add in. I want to put in this small investment so I can benefit in the long term and not try to worry about the short term gain. His wife is a G. She is incredible. Kudos to her.
Had no marketing department whatsoever, to the point that whenever companies or interviewers or news sources would ask, hey, how big is your marketing department? He would reply, pretty big. About 6'8", in fact, referring to himself because he was the only guy that did any marketing, which honestly wasn't much. They weren't worried about product placements and being a Super Bowl commercial and all this other dumb shit that all the other brands do, because Don knew that he had the value proposition on his side. He knew that he was selling more tea for less and he was putting it inside of a cool can and the product would sell itself, and he was absolutely right. Okay, fast forward to 2008, Arizona Tea is huge. They have their own factory, everything's paid off, they're making a ton of money, they're the #1 ready-to-drink tea brand in the country. At this point, the company is worth over $1 billion, and John Farolito, who over the past decade has become more and more of a quiet partner as Don just kind of took everything over and John just got to, reap the rewards, he comes out and he's like, hey, we could literally sell this company and make billions of dollars and just be retired billionaires that wake up and do whatever the fuck we want all day, every day. We should sell the company. To which Don was like, no, absolutely not. I'm not selling this company, because if I sell this company, what are my sons going to do? Both his sons were his top level executives with him, literally his right and left hand man. And he knew that if he sold out, he wasn't going to get to hang out with his sons, because every single day, Don Voltaggio has a 2-hour family style lunch with both of his sons and his wife inside of his big ass office in his factory. Okay, just so we're all on the
and that's that is a kingdom, and it's like he runs it like a freaking king, a benevolent king, and he wants his heirs. He made his sons a part, and his wife a part of the business. It's like he started this out back in 1992, with a partner, mind you, but he built it from the ground up, betted on himself. And, despite the loan office and the stores who don't think it was going to work, it's like, do it anyway, see what happens. And he raked in billions. And now, as things progress, he no, I want to guarantee my sons not only just giving them some kind of nest egg or just throwing them money. No, I'm going to make them a part of business so know how it works. So when I leave this earth, I'll leave it in the hands of people who I trust will carry on as, of course, as they technically see it, but on the foundation that I set. It's I want to make this a true and blue family business, and understand that the betting itself don't detour off the lane that I set forth. Of course, it's not like he's trying to control them beyond the grave or anything like that, but he had a pathway to this. As part of wanting to sell this, no, I want to do this with my family, and because who I'm selling it to will clearly gonna botch all up, and my sons more than likely ain't gonna have much, if at all, any say so in the matter. I ain't trying to have that stuff, not with my company. Oh no, sorry, Bob. So it's just I hope when the time comes when he passes away, his sons will carry on that legacy with honor, and not let somebody bully them or trick them or finesse them into signing away the company or whatever. I hope it remains within the family, and I'm pretty sure they probably got children by this point, and their children and their children's children will carry on this dynasty. It's not even just a kingdom; it's a dynasty. Kind of not too different from maybe Walt Disney's the Disney family. It's this is not even a kingdom anymore. It's a dynasty, and that's what most guys would like to build. That's overall, we want to be able to create a kingdom bare minimum for us to lay the groundwork for our family to reap the benefits of our hard work, and like make sure they flourish. We want to be like the CEO of Arizona, pretty much.
Same page. Don Voltaggio could have cashed out and been a billionaire with a fucking B and said, nah, I'd rather hang out with my kids. Go fuck yourself. That is the most gangster thing I think I've ever heard in my entire life. Like, imagine how his sons feel about him after that. You know what I mean? Like, imagine going to work with your brother and your dad all day, every day, knowing that the only reason that you're there right now was because your dad got offered to be a billionaire. Like, basically a king or an emperor of capitalism in America, essentially. Like, your dad could have just been like the guy doing whatever he wanted for the rest of his life. But no, he decided he was going to have your back instead.
And you know, that shows the level of Don's character. He's in one of these kind of greedy. Look, I respect capitalism and all that stuff because we live in America, the greatest country in the world. All for it. But there's a dark side to capitalism that many CEOs fall prey to. He stayed true to who he was as a person and knew beyond himself that this is more than just like about money. I wanted to secure not just my sons, but my future legacy to make sure they have something. It's all about family, and we remain close knit, and that will carry on well beyond me. And like, not only they're set for life, but they're working together, and this is going to remain in the family, and they will see the lessons that I'm teaching and how I'm what I'm doing it as like a what you call it learn from my not mistakes, but my actions. Learn from me how I'm doing this, so that way you can pass it on to your offspring and so forth. Because he made a ton of money, but he isn't greedy. And it shows by the fact that he just goes beyond even his own family. The fact that he, after all these years, he still kept it at 99 cents. He did not care about inflation. He could have easily spiked the price at any point, but he remained true. It's like, no, I'm making sure this still remains 99 cents no matter what happens, because he knew that people want to probably buy more of this, but probably by the dozens, because it's so doggone cheap. Like, I remember hanging out with some friends after high school or whatever, and you want to buy lunch, or whatever the case may be. You hang out with your buddies, and you go to the local store, and you don't have much, but you got maybe like $1, and you want, and your parts, especially during the summertime, and you got these gigantic cans with a ton of tea in here that is very satisfying, and you get more bang for your buck. Or if you're having a party, and you want to, bring something to the cookout or something like that, you get a couple of cases of Arizona tea. Like, you're pretty much set for the entire event of the cookout or whatever party you're having. It is like it's a smart business strategy. This dude is like, we all should be learning from this guy. If you ever want to do like a startup business or trying to be an entrepreneur, he's one of the handful of people you definitely need to learn from, not only with like business strategy and everything like that, but also ethics. There's a thing with ethics that coincide with business, because I be hard pressed to see this guy screw people over to get ahead. He doesn't have to. because I watched like the Steve Jobs biopic with Ashton Kutcher, and you learn this. Steve Jobs. Not many people outside of his inner circle knew that he was kind of an asshole. So it's like he goes to show you don't need to be like this greedy prick in order to make tons of money and be like live like a king, at the same time. Like you don't need to necessarily. I know it takes a bit of a cutthroatness to get to that level, but it doesn't. Don proves you don't have to be.
Now you get this awesome job with your family. Like, it's dad goals to a degree that I didn't even know existed. So this obviously leads to a little bit of a falling out between Don and John. John obviously wants to sell. He wants to take his money and run, which kind of understandable. So he's like, you know what? Fine. Don, you keep your half of the company. I'm going to take my half and I'm going to go sell it to some investment firm or something, and I'm going to get my money and I'm going to retire. To which John Voltaggio is like, no, you're not. Absolutely not. You are not about to sell half of my company to some investment firm that's going to want to take it public, and then an army of MBAs is going to march in here and try to tell me how to run my business that I built from the ground up when none of them have accomplished anything at all. Okay, I'm worried about taking care of my employees and my family and putting a lot of tea in pretty cans, and these MBAs are going to march in here and they're going to be worried about one thing, and that's getting a return on their investment, which is a fancy way of saying they're trying to make money for doing fucking nothing. So Don and John go to court and battle it out for the next 8 years. They reach a confidential agreement outside of court. Nobody knows what it was. Nobody knows the terms. Nobody really knows what happened. All we know is that John got paid out $1 billion, and now Don Voltaggio owns 100% of Arizona Tea as of 2015. So clearly, they just paid out $1 billion. It's been 23 years. They have to raise the price of the tea, right? Absolutely not. Don is 100% against it, and he's going to do anything and everything he can to not raise the price of the 99-cent can. What on earth could his reasoning possibly be? I'm just going to let him tell you.
Why not increase the price and therefore increase the profit?
We're successful. We're debt-free. We own everything. Why have people who are having a hard time paying their rent have to pay more for our drink? Maybe it's my little way to give back.
This dude's just a complete gangster. I don't know what else to tell you.
It shows a lot to his character. I'm currently I'm not gonna spoil anything right now, because most of y'all know I am an actor and I'm working on that, but there's a personal thing that I'm working on, my own little entrepreneurial thing. And listen to this guy, knowing okay, what is the price? Okay, I will refuse wholesale to not increase it beyond it needs to be increased, because you want to a certain degree, you still need to think about the consumer and their lives. You want to build for them to enjoy your product, but at the same time, you don't need to gouge them out of every single penny that they have. There's a problem with a lot of video games right now with what do you call it? Management. Not micromanage. Is it micromanage? Well, it's in-game store pricing, currency thing, which is fine. But there's a smart way to do it. Marvel Rivals have a very smart way of doing it, where is relatively affordable and cheap to buy in-game currency to buy certain things. It's not completely different from how Destiny or Overwatch or any of these other games that operate like Marvel Rivals and Overwatch, where you have to buy in-game purchases and whatnot. It's affordable. It's reasonable. You don't need to be super greedy about it. I was look, people struggling. Not everybody, because it's already free. That's the game was already free. But we don't need to buy any kind of events. You don't need to buy any new characters. The only thing you probably ever have to buy is like, in-game currency or certain costumes. Even then, you pretty much can still get them just by grinding out the game for X amount of times. Or, if you can afford it, you can just buy the in-game purchase and like, boom, you got it. That's all. And they're making a ton of money just from that. And it's smart business strategy. But, you can still make tons of money, but you don't have to be super greedy at the same time. It's proven you can do it. Just most other companies is not willing or able or concerned about, like, changing what they got going on for the sake of the almighty dollar.
That dude literally has woken up every day for the past 3 decades and just told inflation to go fuck itself. He's literally the only multi-billion-dollar CEO that came out and was like, you know what? I'll just make less money. That is completely unprecedented, okay? Like, I love capitalism. I think it is the greatest system that humans have ever come up with. That being said, it's got a ton of shortcomings, and it would be so much better if everybody acted like that. Buh! This is all a complete lie because last time I saw one at the gas station, it was over $1. Buh! Yeah, that does happen. That's actually the local store that you're at marking the price up higher than MSRP. Arizona Tea still sells their product below $1 and recommends that they sell it for 99 cents. If other companies raise it more than that, Arizona can't really do anything about it. So yeah, if you're not picking up what I'm putting down, I'm trying to tell you that your local convenience store is scalping tea. It's the word.
Unfreaking believable. This is still 99 cents. Actually, I managed to get it cheap because I got it at the Amazon Fresh store, which currently right now, little did you know that they're doing like a whole fire sale right now because they're getting bought out by Whole Foods. So I got this extremely cheap than average. But that doesn't change the fact that what he says is true. Like, the stores have their own little thing going on, so they can, if they so choose to, they can raise the price. But Arizona, itself, by and large, in most cases, whenever you go to a certain store, it will still be 99 cents.
We live in. So other than Don simply being willing to just make less money, buy a smaller yacht, if you will, what else is Arizona Tea doing to cut costs to maintain this price point? Over time, they've done quite a few different things, one of which is they actually changed from selling 23-ounce cans to 22-ounce cans. And the reason they did that wasn't by selling, one less ounce of tea is going to save us all this money. They didn't really give a shit about the tea itself. What they did was they went to the can manufacturer and said, hey, we want you to make our cans thinner and use 40% less aluminum so that we save a bunch of money on the raw material end. So they actually ended up making the can a tiny bit smaller and then making it significantly thinner all the way around and having a different top so that they could save a bunch of money on the can itself. In addition to that, they also figured they could save a bunch of money on fuel by not delivering their tea during the day to all the different stores. All their trucks run exclusively at night. Okay, just so we're all on the same page, just so we're all hearing what I'm saying. In order for Arizona Tea to maintain their cheap price point for the rest of us, they're also gonna make us suffer by reducing the amount of traffic. This might be my favorite company on the planet. They need to add that to the marketing, honestly. Big cans, pretty, there's less fucking traffic, okay? It's a trifecta. Okay, do you understand how
I did not know that part about the whole trucks. Like, their trucks only runs in the evenings or overnight in general, just to avoid like insane traffic. That's smart. Get to the places, pretty efficiently.
how crazy that is? Like, before they were just saving you money, but now in order to keep saving you money, they're also being forced to save you time, okay? It violates the laws of physics somehow. It has to.
Damn, Neil deGrasse Tyson, how are you doing that?
It's physics, Terry. It's physics.
This is my new favorite company, okay? I don't even drink Arizona Tea. I'm starting today. Okay, that's it. That's all I got. I thought for sure Arizona Tea was gonna be up to something like every other company I look into, but no, they're not up to anything nefarious. They're not secretly being funded by the government. It's just Don Voltaggio, the owner, woke up every day for 30 years and decided to be a fucking badass.
I also want to give Don major kudos to not falling prey to the gimmicks that many other companies have done in the past few years. Like a lot of them, like, you know, like Ben and Jerry's, or, you know, like, and other companies want to put in rainbow flags all over their products for no reason at all, but just for brownie points, for social brownie points. Or don't end up like Cracker Barrel, who try to change their logo, you know, that's to not look like, you know, I don't know what the situation was. It got something to do with race or something. They changed it for no apparent reason and end up changing it back, you know, completely wasting their own time and money on changing up the logos that was nothing wrong with it. He knew what he had. Like, Don knows what he has. He knows what works. In terms of pricing, the marketing, and distribution. If it ain't broke, don't fix it. That's the biggest problem with Cracker Barrel. They had they had something good. Nothing was wrong with it, but you chose to muck with it for the sake of, you know, like because it looks, you know, racist by somebody who might have like raised an eyebrow. It's like, oh my god, it says cracker on it. It's like, oh my god, we don't seem like we only care to white people. It's like, it's like, no, like, dude, you know who your brand is for, who your main, like, your main customers are. Anybody else who, look, yeah, sure, maybe the bulk of the people who goes to Cracker Barrel are probably mostly Midwestern white folk. But if people outside of that demographic might so happen to visit, it's very inviting. I always wanted to go to a Cracker Barrel because it seems like I seen online and how it looks. It looks pretty dope. So it's not like, you know, it's like a racist company. It's never been a racist company. But it's the same issues with like a lot of movies and TV shows right now, and video games. It's like, y'all forgot that most of y'all are boy brands, and you try to deviate from that, trying to get more the female demographic, and you don't need to, because if females wanted to watch this stuff, they can go ahead and watch it, but you don't need to change up anything, because the percentage of women who was already enjoying Star Wars or Star Trek or whatever, or Marvel or DC, they're already there. Any other girls outside of that portion of girls that like that kind of stuff, they're free to come and check it out, but they're not intending to check it out. There's not many girls out there who's like super into Star Trek. Okay, if they don't care to watch Star Trek, you don't need to try to cater to them just to get more eyes to see Star Trek. It wasn't meant for them anyway. Barbie is meant for girls. Star Trek is primarily meant for boys. So that's the biggest problem with a lot of these companies. They keep trying to change things that doesn't need to be changed to try to, because they're greedy, trying to get more people to purchase a ticket or buy a product or whatever, or buy a subscription, because you're trying to get more people. But there's only so many people in the world, A, and then B, it's like, if people don't never cared about it in the first place, you don't need to worry about them. If they come by, let them come by. If they don't, it's no sweat off your back. It's like, I don't need Mattel to try to cater to boys to buy Barbie. It's not meant for boys.
When they told him his 1-gallon jug of tea idea was dumb and it wasn't going to work, he said, cool, I'm going to go ahead and sell it anyways. And it worked. He believed in himself. When his wife designed this awesome can and they said nobody's going to buy it because it's girly, he said, cool, I'm going to sell it anyways. He believed in his wife and he was a good husband. When it came time to sell out, retire, and be a billionaire, he said, but then I'm not going to get to hang out with my sons. He had his kids back. He was a good dad. And when the time came to raise prices because everybody else was doing it, he said, nah, I don't need to make more money, I'll just make less. He was a good person. And despite all of that, despite the fact that he did everything wrong and he put money last as the business owner and the guy running the show, he still ended up being a billionaire worth over $6 billion.
Don Voltaggio, net worth $6.5 billion as of July 2024. Probably close to $7 billion at this point, or if not on the $7 billion marker by this point of 2026. So, wouldn't be surprising. But this dude is like a dominating figure. Like I said, they need to make a biopic about this guy.
And more importantly, he gets to have lunch with both of his boys every single day, which is something I don't think any other billionaire can say, and in a lot of ways that probably makes him the richest man on earth. So in my opinion, that's the key to Arizona T's success. Don't chase the money, chase the goal. The money will come after, even if the goal is something as simple as putting a lot of tea in a big can and making it pretty. Thank you for watching. Best way to support the channel is go buy some merch over at thefatelectrician.com. Quack bang, out.
Kudos. Like, follow this guy, the Fat Files. Apparently he covers a lot of like different companies and what have you. Like I saw one about the Cracker Barrel during that whole incident when they tried to change the logo. So yeah, definitely check out his channel. I might look into that, you know, in a different reaction video, because that looks interesting. But yeah, man, yeah, smart marketing, very smart marketing. I want to check out more of the Fat Files, because he seems like he got some very creative stuff. But you can learn a lot about some of these companies, some things that you probably need to know more than likely, like who you're buying, like whose product you're buying, and so forth, where your money is going to. Anyway, I will see you guys in a little bit with more content. I got at least a few more before I get back to playing some games, because I want to get started playing some Marvel Rivals and start learning some Deadpool. So like the video, leave a comment below. Let me know what you guys think of Arizona tea. Is that your favorite drink? Do you have a favorite flavor? I'm curious to know, and I will see you all later. Peace.